Are you as tired of the gallery wall series as I am?
This gallery wall series is driving us cray-cray.
Well, let's get cray-cray for the clay-clay.
Hey you guys, on today's IOD Gallery Wall Series, episode 6, we are going to be using the IOD Air Dry Clay, which is the best in the world.
Very best.
Very best. We're going to be using our molds, our Decor stamps, and we're going to be doing something kind of cool and fun with the Decor stamps.
An awesome technique.
So stay tuned. So if you guys remember, we want to use a nice lightweight plywood, which is smooth. We go over that in more detail in our previous episodes.
1/2 inch smooth plywood.
That's right, 1/2 inch. This piece of plywood is a scrap piece that we started with that happened to be the right size. So it has
Ignore the blue.
Ignore the blue, has nothing to do with today's project.
You don't see the blue.
Let's dive right in. We're gonna get started with our IOD Decor molds. We're using today Laurel, and it's one of our most popular, and you will see why. It's got a beautiful laurel wreath design. And our paper clay, let's get that open. I've got some scissors right here.
This is not paper clay.
Oops.
It's air dry clay.
I'm
Our
not gonna
ingredients
lie.
are proprietary and they're artist grade.
Okay. I call it paper clay all the time. We're just gonna move on. It's air dry clay.
Okay.
Oh, you already opened it.
I did. You need to be making sure that your decor molds have the micro rim, because the micro rim makes it easy peasy.
Which means you have to use the IOD Decor molds because we're the only ones that have the micro rim.
That seems kind of
right.
manipulative. Okay, so we're gonna just squish that stuff right in there. Now, if you ever have trouble with now watch when I draw this across, and I could have eliminated more of that to make it a little bit easier to begin with, get off some of the excess.
Yeah, you were a little bit
aggressive.
A little bit extra there.
So you're gonna draw this across until you reveal that micro rim, okay?
Nice clean edge.
So that you know you're gonna have a nice clean edge and release. See how you can see the micro rim there, okay? And now you're going to put it face down on a flat surface so that you're supporting your casting, and then gently let gravity help you remove it from the mold. And then you see how your edge is clean and defined, and you don't have any little
so beautiful
friffly bits that you need to deal with.
No friffly bits.
No friffly bits. And then we are gonna lay it out where it's gonna go, and then proceed.
A lot of people ask us, what kind of glue should I use? It depends on what you're going on to. Whenever we are going on to wood, we use Tight Bond Quick and Thick.
We love it.
This is not a sponsored ad, but we do love Tight Bond Quick and Thick.
It is thicker
and quicker.
And quicker, as the name would imply, than many of the wood glues. And the reason why this is awesome is even if you are working on a vertical surface, it's actually thick enough to where you do not have to stabilize your pieces with tape, because it is going to hold it in place for you, which is pretty cool.
Very cool. So I'm going to use the glue.
Just
Josie's gonna do that. We're gonna assembly line this.
Micro rim showing.
And get it all around the edge.
Stat-a-rat.
Okay, something we need to show you guys specific to this mold and how you get a continuous design all the way around is, and I don't have, I'll use this. Use a better tool than this, but this will work in a pinch. You take off the little tail on the front end there, like so, remove it, And then it makes room for this little guy to come on up and get snuggly. So it's a nice continuous design.
Kind of like they're spooning.
They're spooning. The laurels are spooning. And then you just go all around the corner. The other technique I want to show, I'm actually going to let you do this one, Josie, because you're better at it. When I was doing the samples yesterday, I was not as clean.
Okay.
So we'll let you do it. Is the corners.
Okay, we'll do that. The other tip when you're using your spatula to get your clean edge is your angle. You don't want like that. You want about, what is this, a 45? Yeah, about a 45-degree angle.
I'll believe you, I'm bad with my angles.
There we go.
I never know.
Until you reveal that micro rim.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's different ways you could do this. You could do just like Sally already did, but kind of manipulate it for a corner. But I'm going to do one of my favorite mitering techniques, and I'm just going to trim that off there. Then I'm going to take another length and set it right here where it's going to be. And then at that 45-degree angle, making sure I'm lining up at the corner in here, I'm going to cut through both pieces, okay?
That was what I was missing. You do both at once.
I do.
So they fit perfectly.
So they fit perfectly. We embrace the cracks for its vintagey loveliness. And in this case, because we allowed this to dry first, we're going to go back in and show you how it's easy to just backfill. I don't even have a little tool. A little tool like that sometimes people use for polymer clay or regular clay works great too to let you get into these little small spots, but I'm just gonna use my fingers that aren't even as capable as usual because I need to I have an issue with these.
Let's just out ourselves. We are in desperate need of mani-pedis, but instead,
if you will.
We're doing gallery videos for you guys. So
exactly.
No judging.
I'm just gonna take this and smush it right in there and smooth it off. Okay?
Wow,
and then we're gonna.
a big difference,
doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And for your bigger gaps, you'll want to do that. For the little cracks and stuff, sometimes we don't even, like, we want those cracks to remain, and so
it adds character.
Yeah, exactly, it adds character, but if you, it's all.
And by the time it's painted, so many times you don't notice it, so.
Yeah, exactly. The mineral type paints that we all use are nice and rich and thick, and so they actually will end up in kind of.
They cover a lot of boo-boos.
They do.
Let's get this thing painted.
Whoa! Love those FIFOs.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna get in here and work it. Work it, girlfriend.
Work it.
Right into all those crevasses.
Mm-mm. Still no.
Maybe. Maybe.
Maybe.
Get all in there. If you're working wet, obviously you're with your clay, if it has not dried and you're going that route, be gentle so that you don't smush your detail with your brush. This is dry, so we're not worried about it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and tape off and use our masking techniques a little differently. We're gonna get
which we went over in previous episodes, so
Yes.
make sure you watch those episodes. We go into detail about how to do it.
Yes, we're going to get as close as we can, and always make sure that your paint is dry. I like to let it dry 24 hours to make sure that when you pull this tape up, you're not pulling tape off. I don't
Paint off.
Yeah.
You do want to pull the tape off.
That's
you
what I
don't want to
said.
pull the paint off.
Basically what I said.
We finished the laurel frame, and now we are going to move on to our textured seal piece. And all you need to do for that, to get the clay ready, is roll it into a ball, just like when you were a kid playing with Play-Doh. Roll it into a nice ball, about this size. And then you put it down, and using a rolling pin, because of the technique that we're going to be showing you, helps. And you just roll it out to about, what is that, about an 1/8 inch thickness, would you say?
about that thick.
Okay. All right, just like so. And then let's glue it on. Again, we're using the Titebond Quick and Thick glue.
We love it. It's so thick.
And quick. Okay. And I'm not centering it because we're going to put a little something down here later, as you saw. So I'm moving it slightly up. And then I use a little butter knife and just kind of meld the edges into.
And if you have some of your glue kind of leaked out under there, that actually even works better.
Mm-hmm. So maybe a little more glue than I used this time.
Yeah. This is resembling a relic. It's not perfect. It's not, yeah. Can you
smooth that out? Perfect. And now we're going to show you one of the techniques we absolutely adore using our Decor stamps for. Adore using our Decor stamps for.
You're a poet and we still don't know it.
And for this, we are using our Queen Bee stamp set. And there's a fun little vintagey typography scrolly piece in that set. And you use it to make an impression. Is that the right direction?
Yes.
Into the clay. So you just put it on the clay and you press down evenly. Don't move it around. Don't pick it up and put it back down.
Yeah.
Leave it down so it's all getting into the same place, creating one design, okay? And then you pull it up. Isn't that pretty?
It is. I love that technique.
Beautiful. Now we just set it aside to dry. So using a nice soft brush so that you don't lose any detail in your impressed clay, put some white paint.
That's generous.
It's not that much. It's not too much.
It's good. It's good.
Okay, I'll show you how it's not too much.
No, it's not.
Don't use your high-pitched voice with me. No, it's not. You're fine, Sally.
It's not too much.
You're fine. Okay. Okay, maybe it's a little too much. Whatever.
So
I feel like the paint multiplied just now.
I think it
How
did.
did you do
It
that?
totally
You made
did.
that happen.
It did. Me and the paint.
Whatever. Okay, get the sides. I'm so glad I have enough paint to get the sides.
Oh no, we can't do that.
I have enough paint to get the sides, thankfully, because I used just the right amount of paint to cover. And here we go. And this is still way too much paint.
Here, let me bring
I
this.
hate it when she's right.
It's okay. You're used to it. Okay, do this. Do this. Get it all.
Okay.
Offload it onto there. Yeah.
Okay.
And then get it out.
Paint is literally spraying everywhere. If my husband sees this, because we're in my kitchen,
Okay.
he's gonna be like, okay.
So the biggest thing is working and getting the excess paint out of the stamped detail,
So we can still
so
see
that
it.
you can still see the stamped detail and it's not
Okay.
filled with paint. Okay, now we are going to do a little bit of a color wash, and it's going to be in this section here on the flight piece, and it's going to be also on our seal.
all over the seal.
All over the seal. And you're going to use some of your chalk type paint in a dark gray or soft black color, and then water, and we're going to do about 2 to 1 water to paint. It's going to be really light. I'm just going to mix it. Get it good and mix. It's a super watery wash. We just want a lightness. Now when we're doing the flight, we want to be careful not to get it here. If you feel like you need to cover that area with something, you can.
Just to be safe. If I was doing it, I would cover. Shows who's probably safe.
Make sure that your edges are down and don't go on too sloppy, because the sloppier you are, the more likely it is to bleed under your tape.
I love the way the glaze washes really get into the crevices, especially on the impressed clay.
Now I am going to just blot it off and lighten it up with a damp, squeezed out to be almost dry cloth. And then
that way it doesn't soak in all of the paint.
Exactly. And then
just get it to your liking.
Get it to your liking, however you like it. That's good. I'm happy with that. And now we are going to repeat that.
This is my funnest part of this technique, because the design really starts to pop, and really the depth and texture and character really come out with this technique.
Now, if you are somebody who has been using mineral and chalk type paints for a while, you may have been using waxes as well to get your antiquing done, and those are awesome as well. However, I highly recommend that you get familiar with just a super simple color wash, and you can also add glazing to that to adjust the texture and create like a scumble. But I find that I, more times than not, just
get
mix.
lazy.
Yep, I do. I guess I do.
I'm the same way. When I'm working, I just want to keep it going.
And see how, I'm so glad we're getting a good shot of this. See how it's just.
That is so pretty.
Yeah. And you don't want to overwork it, because you can start, you know, reactivating your paint. And so you want to be aware of that. Exactly, especially depending on how. But I'm loving that just like that, I think.
Too. Now, if you wanted to, and you wanted to create kind of like a vignette look, you could also work once it's dry. Don't layer up too much, but once it's dry, you could put another layer just on the outside and just really get creative and kind of create the looks that you want.
Exactly. Now we are going to set this aside to dry. All right, now it's time to stamp.
Get stamping
With the bird in flight.
All the things. Stamp it out.
Interruption.
Stamp-a-rama.
Onto our bird in flight piece right there. So, access our other videos in the series where we talk about leaving some of your sets on their backing and just cutting them all apart.
And why we cut these
like
off.
This one, so that you do not have to unmount and mount and unmount and mount. You can just leave it right on there and use at will. So we are using our brayer, and we have a nice deep Indian blue mineral type paint here. And we are gonna go on making sure we have good coverage. Oops. And we are,
I love this little birdie.
Laying it down. Do not
This is from
shift.
Bird branches and blossoms.
Hold it stable with one hand while you then run your hand firmly but evenly across to make sure that you have made contact everywhere. Oh,
Beautiful.
beautiful. Awesome. Now we are going to set this aside to dry. Now we are using some on the same palette for ease of that dark charcoal we've been using. Getting a nice even. And using our Kindest Regards stamp, which isn't clean, but that's okay. We are going to use...
I'm sorry.
We're gonna use this section right here.
That part's clean. Just use this. It's good.
It is. However, I'm trying to plan it in a way that I guess we can still do that.
Yeah.
So there's a bump there.
Yeah.
There's a bump there, but we're gonna go with it anyways because we
I
like.
may not have cleaned my tools from our last video session.
That's not like you, Sally. That's like me. Okay. I'm gonna set this here and kind of stabilize it with your other hand so that you can do this without shift, which isn't easy because it's gonna want to kind of be lifted because of that bump there. So just kind of do that and try not to. There we go.
Oh, beautiful.
It's pretty.
I love it.
Pretty. Okay.
So that piece is done,
yeah? Yeah, it just needs
Yeah.
to dry, and then we're going to seal it with some nice
Clear
wax.
All right. I love this step, so Josie's letting me do it. Once in a while, she lets me do things.
Oh.
And
That's
I am going to do the gold paint. This is the fun part. Bolts. Look at this beautiful paint. They call this, I won't. Okay. I know that I deserve that after our paint debacle earlier,
No.
but I won't drippy.
It's fine.
This is gold leaf paint, and it is beautiful. You can get this at most art supplies. A lot of our IOD stockists carry it, so make sure to ask them first. You can get all your supplies in one place. Isn't it
It's
beautiful?
stinky. It's super stinky. Don't
I'm not
breathe it.
enjoying it. Just like I don't enjoy the smell of gasoline.
That's
I'm weird.
inappropriate.
I know it's weird.
Just kidding. It is stinky, so have good ventilation. Totally. Ooh,
Isn't that pretty? All right, you guys, we are going to finish these bad boys up with a little sanding of the edges, pulling of tape, and a clear wax seal. We're revealing the raw wood, and that's intentional. It's a nice, soft, distressed edge. Going to remove some of the dust. I see Josie's getting started with the tape removal.
Ooh, yeah. And we're going to have some touch-up to do here. But that's all right.
That's because Josie got a little sloppy with the gold paint, even though I told her to go easy.
It was actually not the gold paint. It was this.
Oh, that one. Oh, that was her. That was actually you. For realsies. The glaze. But that's okay. Happy accident. Now we get to show you how to fix something.
Again.
Again. That's true. We've shown you that same happy accident.
Yes, I didn't have that pressed down quite enough, but that's okay. Okay. Yeah, we got a ton of
I
these.
have to say, the gold edge is...
What were you going to say?
All right. The rest of the gold edge is very clean.
Okay, so always two different ways you can handle this. You can go in and touch up and use a straight edge to work up against, or you can take a fine sandpaper, and this isn't fine, and just kind of do that.
Ooh, that's
up
easy
against
peasy.
It is, especially if you have a nice thick pink coat.
Yeah.
But it does help if you have a straight edge, like
To go along
ruler
with it?
to kind of brace up against.
Okay. Which we don't have right now.
Which we don't
so.
have, but let's pretend we do. And then just lightly.
Oh yeah, that's working beautifully.
See how that gives you a nice clean edge?
Beautiful, beautiful.
And on the gold, you would just do the same thing, but without the straight edge. And when it's more dry, so that you don't get it too, so you're not smearing it. So I smeared it, but you won't when you do it. So there you go.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
So now we're just gonna do our clear wax coat, which just seals it up.
Do this.
And it also gives it a nice, pretty finished sheen as well.
I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of a rad tip. I mean, I had already thought of it, But I didn't think it worked that well. And it does.
But she found out on camera that it actually does work. So
I knew it worked. I just didn't know it worked that well.
okay.
Lightly.
You're right. It works really well.
And it's easier than than touch up with paint.
Mm-hmm.
It would be even easier if you didn't bleed to begin with.
That is true.
But that's okay. Because we are all about we're not striving for perfection.
Mm-hmm.
Because that robs you of the joy of the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're worried about making a mistake, you're not going to have as much freedom. Exactly.
All right, clear wax coat.
You clear wax while I finish touching this bleed up.
Our textured seal is all done. It's sealed and Our seal is sealed.
Beautiful. And basically, do you repeat the same process here?
We do.
And you do not need to go over the. You do not need to go over the gold when you do it, though, because the gold has a
pretty well
sheen.
sealed. Yeah.
So just buff it out into that space. Episode 6, it's a wrap.
Just so you know, supplies are below.
If you like our vibe, be sure to hit subscribe. Okay.
Why not? Because we're old and old people do things like that.
Exactly.
And fly, bird, and fly.
Seal.
We are so funny to ourselves.
Now, we embrace cracks. This is not a problem.
Sorry. I so tried.
You made me snort.
We don't know the
I
word.
want it that way. Okay. Oh, hold on. You have a little something right here. There. I got it.
You cannot
I
do
feel
that.
that wet. I
Sean, you
feel that
ruined
wet.
it.
I felt it.
If you like our vibe, be sure to
hit
hit subscribe.
I said describe. Just so you know, One more time,
Okay.
Sean. Sean is like,
You're getting better every
want
time.
to eat.